You know, we've touched on this before, but it's worth repeating. Just because it's a primary doesn't mean it's not important. In fact, there are several issues on your ballot worthy of your time. Let's begin in Kansas City, Missouri, where voters have 5 local questions to consider. The first 2 both involve up to $100 million in bond money. Question 1 would authorize a bond to go toward building more affordable housing. The second would work to repair city buildings like City Hall and the Convention Center, buildings that need major repairs. Leaders say both bond issues would not raise property taxes. Question 3 involves renewing a 1/8 cent sales tax for improvements on the city's east side. And questions 4 and 5 are similar. Both ask voters to approve bonds of $750 million apiece, one for water projects, the other for sewer improvement projects around KC. Then there are the amendments to consider in Missouri. Amendment 1 would continue a sales tax for state parks and soil and water conservation programs. Amendment 2 would require all charter counties, including Jackson County, to elect its county assessor. This came about after the property tax saga we're just talking about in Jackson County that leaders are still working to address. The next 2 amendments have major implications for the power of your vote and your paycheck. There's been a lot of back and forth on Amendment 4 specifically. We're going to keep it simple for you. This is a push by Republicans mostly to make it nearly impossible for you to change the state constitution on your own through what's called the initiative petition process. That process is already very hard, but it's how a number of progressive issues have passed at the polls in recent years. Things like Medicaid expansion, marijuana, and abortion rights. Conservatives, not too keen about that, want to change the Constitution so that instead of a statewide majority, a majority of voters in each individual congressional district have to sign off on an amendment. That's what a yes vote would do. It would also set up a double standard in Jeff City.
I think that's an interesting thing. Something voters have to keep in mind is that for changes to the Constitution that are put forth by the legislature, it's still a straight statewide majority. And so what that means in our current environment is a lot of conservative proposals, if they come from the legislature, straight statewide majority. But some of these things are a little more liberal in this current environment. They'd have to pass every single congressional district. That's almost impossible.
Just 5% of voters could derail a proposed amendment, essentially silencing the initiative petition process. A no vote keeps the process the way it is. Amendment 5 would mean major changes to taxes in Missouri, but it's important that you pay very close attention to the fine print here before you make a decision. For years, Governor Mike Kehoe has wanted to do away with the state's income tax, claiming Missouri is losing business to other states. A yes vote on Amendment 5 would phase out the income tax over a period of years, but it would also give state lawmakers broad power to raise sales taxes to make up for lost revenue. Right now, income taxes make up more than 60% of the state's revenue, so there are still many unanswered questions about how lawmakers would fill the void.
Critics of it say this is just a blank check. This is giving them carte blanche to raise taxes on the things that they want to raise taxes on without any sort of plan going into it for voters to latch onto. So you see a lot of the ads against Amendment 5 focusing on this idea of, do you trust Jefferson City to make these decisions? And that's the sort of steep hill the supporters of Amendment 5 are trying to climb.
Supporters claim Missourians would get more money in their paychecks every week and would have more of a say on where their money goes. But again, that all depends on the sales taxes. The General Assembly would still have to hash that out. A no vote keeps the income tax in place the way it is now. Let's turn our attention to Kansas now and an amendment that has the potential to reshape the judicial branch of government. It all has to do with the Kansas Supreme Court and how justices make it to the bench, how they get their jobs. Right now, they're appointed by the governor after a 9-person nominating commission vets them. That includes background checks, interviews, and more before the top 3 candidates make it to the governor's desk. It's a process that's been in place since 1958, approved by voters after a scandal. A yes vote on the amendment would mean that justices would have to run for election and would hold 6-year terms if they win. A no vote means continuing the long-standing process of vetting through a nominating commission before the governor appoints justices. Journalists watching this issue point out Republican lawmakers heavily support making this change.
They see this as a way of getting rulings that they do like, specifically on the overturning the ruling where the court found a right to terminate a pregnancy in the state constitution. And also they've been clear about saying they don't like the school funding rulings that they've gotten over the years. So this is really about getting more favorable rulings on key issues.
Politically, many Republican leaders are pushing for this amendment to pass, with some signaling that it could ease changes on major issues like abortion and school funding. We have covered a lot today. Please go back and watch our segments so you're informed before you cast your ballot. We've got it all for you online right now at kmbc.com/heart.